Narrative. Doesn't fit your narrative.
Narrative? I don't understand your emotional investment in Shedeur.
Tony, I'm rooting for the kid. Don't worry about what my investment is. Worry about what your investment is with your guy. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about why I like a guy. I think that kid can play better than Dylan Gabriel. I said it before the draft, and I'll stick to it. I think he got a raw deal here in Cleveland. End of story. That's how I feel. Don't tell me how to feel.
Don't tell me you were completely wrong if you thought things in Cleveland couldn't get any crazier, more dramatic, or more explosive. Because we now have the best quarterback ever. The person who won 7 Super Bowl titles. The living legend who knows more about winning important games than anyone else who has ever played the game. Tom Brady gets involved and completely destroys Kevin Stefanski for his choice to pull Shedeur Sanders during those crucial 2-point conversion attempts against the Titans. This is a big deal, everyone. This is huge. This is the kind of event that stays in the news for more than a day or two. This is the kind of criticism that stays with a coach for the rest of his career. When Tom Brady, who is now one of the most respected voices in football broadcasting and has been in more high-pressure game-deciding situations than probably any other player in history, you can be sure that people are paying attention when that man looks into the camera and says that a coaching decision was wrong, terribly wrong, and inexcusably wrong. And boy, did Tom Brady have a lot to say about what happened in Cleveland on Sunday. I need to give you some background information so you can fully understand how horrible Brady's comments were. Tom Brady was in the Fox Sports broadcast booth doing his job as one of their top analysts, breaking down games with the kind of insight that only someone who has been there, done that, and won can give.
Throw every run, every time he stood back up after getting hit hard. Nobody understands the weight of carrying a whole team on your shoulders until they have done it themselves. Shedeur Sanders fighting for an entire city. Nobody has the right to mock someone who continues to battle the way he does.
And when the talk turned to the Browns-Titans game, and Kevin Stefanski's choice to take Shedeur Sanders off the field for those 2 important 2-point tries, you could tell that Brady's mood changed. You could tell by the sound of his voice. This wasn't just a casual look at things. This was about me. The 7-time Super Bowl champion was very upset by this. Brady started off calm, as he always does, by laying out the facts of the case. Brady said, "Let me make sure I understand this right." And you could already hear the doubt in his voice. Shedeur Sanders just threw for 64 yards. He threw 3 passes that led to touchdowns. He just led his team on an 80-yard touchdown drive in 7 plays, bringing them within 2 points. All game long, he's been throwing big-time passes. In the 4th quarter, he showed calmness, poise, and clutch play. And then when it really counts, when you need just 1 play to tie the game and send it to overtime, you take him off the field and run a wildcat formation. The way Brady said it, with that mix of confusion and disbelief and a tone that made it sound like he really couldn't understand why the decision was made, was bad enough on its own. But then Brady really got going. And what came next was one of the most harsh, direct, and completely brutal criticisms of a coaching decision that we have heard from a broadcaster this season. Brady's voice got louder and more excited as he said, "I've been in this situation hundreds of times. It's the 4th quarter. The game is on the line, and everything you've worked for comes down to 1 or 2 plays. And you know what every great coach I ever played for knew? You give the ball to your best players. You trust the people who helped you get there. Don't get cute. Don't think too much about it. You don't give up on something that's working just because you fell in love with a play you wrote during the week." Brady was just getting started, and you could see his co-host trying to jump in and maybe defend Stefanski or at least add some balance to the conversation, but Brady didn't want to hear it. He was on a roll. When Tom Brady starts talking about something he cares about, you should just let him talk because he is saying things that are worth a lot. Brady said, "This young quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, just showed you everything you need to see." He was leaning forward and moving his hands the way he used to when he was calling plays in the huddle. He showed you that he can deal with stress. He showed you that he can throw the ball into tight spaces. He showed you that he can take a team down the field when they're behind and time is running out. He deserved to be on that field for those conversions. He earned people's trust. And why do you pull him? For a wildcat play that was clearly not done right and had no chance of working. Brady then said something that will be quoted and re-quoted. He looked right into the camera with the kind of intensity that used to make defenders nervous and said, "If I'm Shedeur Sanders right now, I'm questioning everything. I'm not sure if my coach trusts me. I did everything you could ask a rookie quarterback to do in a tough spot, so I'm not sure what I need to do to earn his trust. And it still wasn't enough to keep me on the field when it really mattered." That's how you make a young quarterback lose faith in himself. That's how you make people doubt and hesitate. That's just plain coaching malpractice. Mistreatment by a coach. Tom Brady said those words. On national television, the best quarterback of all time just said that Kevin Stefanski was a bad coach. Do you know how important that is? Do you understand how important it is that someone like Brady is saying that? He has a lot of experience, is credible, and knows what it takes to win in this league. This isn't a hot take artist trying to get clicks and attention. This isn't a former player with a grudge to set. This is Tom Brady, the best player ever. The one who has been there and done that more than anyone else. He is telling you that what happened in Cleveland was wrong in every way. Brady was not done though. No, he was just getting started. He went on to talk about the specific situations in which quarterbacks grow and learn, using his own experience as a young player in New England, who had to deal with a lot of pressure. Brady said, "When I was a young quarterback," his voice heavy with experience, "Coach Belichick put me in tough spots. He believed in me even when I hadn't proven myself. And do you know what that did? It gave me more self-assurance. It showed me how to deal with stress. It made me feel like my coach had faith in me. And that belief came true because I didn't want to let him down." Brady then made a comparison that Kevin Stefanski probably didn't like. See how Andy Reid works with his young quarterbacks? Take a look at what Kyle Shanahan does. See what the best coaches in this league do. They find their franchise quarterback and then give him the tools he needs to do well. They put him in important situations to gain experience. They let him learn by doing, even if he makes some mistakes along the way. They don't pull him when he's hot and playing the best football of his life because they planned a trick play 3 days ago. You could hear how frustrated Brady was, and it was clear that he was really worried about Shedeur Sanders' growth. Brady knows how hard it is to be a young quarterback who wants to prove himself. He knows how it feels to have people doubt whether you belong. He was picked in the 6th round and had to work hard for everything he got in this league. And now he is watching a 5th-round pick, who is doing really well, have his own coaches work against him, and it is making him go crazy. 36-64 yards, Brady shouted, his voice getting louder. 3 touchdown passes and an 80-yard drive in the 4th quarter. What else does this kid need to do to be able to finish what he started? Tell me. From where I am sitting, Shedeur Sanders did everything you could ask of him. He gave his team a chance to win. He made one clutch throw after another. As a rookie, he acted like a veteran, and his reward was watching from the sidelines as a play that clearly wasn't executed correctly ended his team's chances of tying the game. Then Brady made a point that everyone who was watching could understand, something that got to the heart of what it means to win in football. Do you know what makes a good team great? Belief, trust, and communication. When your quarterback knows you trust him and will let him make plays in the biggest moments, it makes him play better. It helps him. It gives him more self-assurance. But when you pull him, when you show him that you don't trust him even after he's done well, you do the opposite of what you want. You make people doubt. You make people hesitate. And in a league where decisions have to be made in a split second and confidence is everything, that kind of doubt can be very bad. Finally, Brady's co-host was able to speak up and ask if Stefanski had good reasons for making the choice. There could have been information that we didn't have. The play call might have made sense because of something we couldn't see. And you know how Brady reacted? He really did laugh. It wasn't a happy, friendly laugh. It was one of those laughs that says, "You can't be serious right now." And then he said something that summed up everything that was wrong with this situation. "I understand," Brady said, in a way that made it clear he didn't get it at all. Coaches have plans for the game. They have things they do at work they have plans for what to do in certain situations. I get all of that. But great coaches also know this. You need to change with the game. You need to be able to adapt to what is actually happening on the field. Not what you thought would happen when you were making plans on Tuesday. Shedeur Sanders just showed you that he can handle pressure. He just gave you a lot of reasons to believe him. And you didn't pay attention to any of that real-time information because you wanted to run a wildcat play. That's not how to coach well. That's being stubborn. That's pride. The word ego hung in the air for a moment, and you could tell Brady meant it as the harsh criticism it was. Brady says that in the world of championship football, ego has no place when it comes to making choices. Please step back, everyone. Thanks. To win, your feelings don't matter. It doesn't matter what your plan is for the game. It is important to read the situation, trust your best players, and do what you need to do when it matters. Then Brady went even further and talked about the historical context that made this choice even more confusing. How long has Cleveland been looking for a franchise quarterback? Since 1999, when they came back into the league. They have had a lot of quarterbacks. They finally have a young guy who has real franchise potential, is getting better every week, has the right background, skills, and work ethic, everything you want.
And you are going to handle him badly like this. You are going to get him in important times. Do you know how hard it is to find a quarterback who can really play in this league? You don't trust him even though he just scored a lot of points. Brady then talked about his own career in a way that made the criticism even stronger. In my first year with Tampa Bay, we lost to the Saints 27-10 in the first game. We won when we came back. Do you know why? Bruce Arians trusted me. He let me throw the ball. He gave me the game. He didn't pull me and run trick plays when we needed to score. He told me, "Come on, Tom, go win the game," and he let me do it. That's what good coaches do. That's what coaches who win championships do. The comparison to Bruce Arians was especially strong because Arians is known as a coach who is good with quarterbacks and gives them freedom and trust. And Brady pretty much said that Kevin Stefanski is the opposite of that his method is the opposite of what works with quarterbacks, especially young ones who need to build confidence and experience. Brady also talked about how dumb the decision was from a purely football point of view. Brady said, "Okay, let's say you're worried about another fumbled snap after what happened the first time." He was playing devil's advocate for a moment. Do you know what you do? You practice the snap exchange. You make sure that your center and quarterback are on the same page. You don't give up on your whole passing game because of one mistake. It's like saying we threw an interception earlier, so we'll never throw again. It doesn't make sense. He went on. Now let's talk about the Wildcat for a minute. When does Wildcat ever work when you really need it to? When was the last time you saw a team run Wildcat for a 2-point conversion when the game was on the line? I'm waiting. I really want to know because I can't think of a single one. It's a trick play. You run it early in the game to surprise the defense, maybe on first down when you want them to think about something else. You don't run it when you really need 2 yards and the whole season is on the line. Brady's tactical breakdown was devastating because it showed that the choice was not only questionable but also made no sense from a football strategy point of view. This wasn't a question of opinion or philosophy. Brady was saying that the decision made no sense at all from a purely X's and O's point of view. Brady then talked about the human side of things, how this must be affecting Shedeur Sanders and the rest of the Browns locker room mentally. Consider how this affects the chemistry of the team. Brady's voice got more serious as he spoke. You have offensive linemen who just blocked their butts off for 80 yards. You have receivers who made tough catches, ran great routes, and helped their quarterback move the ball down the field. You have a running back who helped. The whole offense did a great job on that drive. And then, for the most important play, most of them aren't even on the field. What do they think about that? What does that say about the coach's faith in and trust in the play? Brady brought up something that hadn't been talked about much yet. What this choice means for everyone, not just shit. If I'm Jerry Jeudy and I'm one of the receivers who just helped move the ball down the field, I'm looking at the sideline and thinking, wait, we're not going to try to score with the group that just moved the ball at will. That makes people angry.
that makes things worse. That makes players wonder if their coaches are making the right choices. Once you lose the players' trust in the locker room and they start to wonder if their coach is making the best choices for them to win, you're done. You don't have any power anymore. This was probably the worst part of Brady's whole criticism because he was talking about something that goes beyond just one game or play. He was talking about how this would affect Stefanski's relationship with his team in the long run, as well as his ability to lead and earn respect. And coming from someone who played for Bill Belichick, who knows better than almost anyone how important it is for players to trust their coach's decisions, this meant a lot. After that, Tom Brady talked about the news that Jimmy Haslam had called an emergency board meeting. He was careful not to tell an owner how to run his business, but it was clear what he thought. "I don't want to own anything in these situations," Brady said. "It's really hard to make decisions about coaching. You want to give coaches some time. You need to be patient. You want to let them carry out their plans. But you also need to protect your most important things." Shedeur Sanders might be Cleveland's most valuable asset right now. If the coaching staff's approach is really hurting his growth or confidence, ownership needs to do something about it. Quarterback is the most important position in all of sports, and you can't afford to mess it up when you finally find one who can play. The consequences were very clear. Brady was basically saying that it should be clear who to choose between Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders' development. You keep the quarterback safe. You do everything you can to help him reach his full potential. And if that means making a tough coaching change, you do it. Because the future of the whole franchise depends on getting the quarterback situation right. Brady also talked about what Myles Garrett said after the game, giving them his stamp of approval in a way that had to make Garrett feel good. Myles Garrett did a great job with that, Brady said. He didn't go all out. He didn't talk badly about his coach, but he made his point clear. He praised Shedeur and talked about how well the rookie played, but he also hinted at why that player wasn't on the field for the most important plays. That's what it means to be a leader. That's a veteran star using his fame to protect a younger teammate and send a message to the organization. I have nothing but respect for how Garrett dealt with that. Brady's support is a big deal for Garrett because it shows that he did the right thing, that he was honest and professional at the same time, and that his worries are real and shared by people who know a lot about football. At the end of his commentary, Brady made one last point that summed up everything he'd said. One last thing that people will remember and talk about for a long time. He looked into the camera with that trademark Brady intensity and said that Kevin Stefanski made a lot of mistakes on Sunday, but the biggest one wasn't the call itself. That was bad, but the worst thing was telling his young franchise quarterback that he doesn't trust him in the biggest moment. And in the NFL, trust is everything when it comes to quarterbacks. Everything is based on confidence. Faith is everything, and I can tell you that Shedeur Sanders is probably wondering if his coach trusts him right now. The coaching staff is responsible for that doubt and question mark. If they don't fix it quickly, if they don't fix that relationship and give that young man more power, they'll be sorry for a long time, because there aren't many good quarterbacks out there, and you better not mess it up when you do. There was a deep silence after Brady spoke. His co-host on the show wasn't sure what to say. What can you say after Tom Brady, the best quarterback of all time, just gave that kind of thorough, harsh criticism of a coaching decision? You move on to the next topic and hope that people remember what you said before. Everyone will be talking about what Brady said for days, and they did talk. There was a huge explosion on social media. Within minutes of Brady's comments going live, clips were being shared on all platforms. People were posting Brady's takedown of Stefanski on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Reddit, and all over the place. The hashtags Brady is right and Shedeur fire Stefanski quickly became popular. Sports talk shows started to spend whole segments talking about what Brady said. The next day, ESPN's morning shows led with it. Fox Sports obviously played it over and over. NFL Network had analysts arguing about whether Brady went too far or if his criticism was fair and deserved. Almost all of the former players who spoke up agreed with Brady's assessment. On his podcast, Shannon Sharpe said that Brady was completely right and that everything he said needed to be said. Emmanuel Akko praised Brady for telling the truth on his platform. Even guys who usually defend coaches who say things like, "We don't know what's going on behind the scenes," couldn't really argue with Brady's logic or reasoning. Current players were being more careful about what they said in public, but they were liking and sharing Brady's comments on social media, which is basically their way of agreeing with him without saying it out loud. Several Browns players were reportedly seen watching the clip in the locker room, nodding along and clearly feeling vindicated that someone as famous as Brady was saying what they had been thinking but couldn't say in public. Brady's comments changed the national story about this situation completely. There were still some people who defended Stefanski and some analysts who said, maybe there's more to it. There is still some room for doubt. That benefit of the doubt went away after Brady spoke. When the GOAT tells you that a coaching decision was wrong and explains why in terms of tactics, psychology and strategy, and his argument is so strong that there is nothing else to talk about. Kevin Stefanski is now in a situation that is impossible. The best quarterback in NFL history is criticizing him on national TV. His best defender has quietly called him out. Reports say that his boss has called an emergency board meeting to talk about his job security. The national media is piling on. Fans want him to be fired, and he still has 4 more games to coach. 4 games where everyone will be watching what he does. People will question every play call. We will look for signs that Shedeur Sanders has changed his approach in every interaction with him. Stefanski is going to be under a lot of pressure in the future. If he keeps treating Shedeur the same way and making choices that show he doesn't fully trust the rookie, Brady's words will ring even louder. Every time he pulls Shedeur in a big game, someone will play the clip of Brady saying it was bad coaching. Analysts will bring up Brady's comments about being stubborn and having an ego every time a play call doesn't work. The public has basically told Kevin Stefanski that he needs to be careful.